The 2008 financial crisis wasn't an accident. It was a controlled demolition of trust, lives, and the illusion that someone was watching over the system. Built on greed, blindness, and fake money sold as innovation, it didn't just crash Wall Street, it buried homes, jobs, and futures. The cruelest part? Those who caused it walked away richer. One week, headlines said housing prices keep rising. The next, banks collapsed, retirements vanished, and governments handed out billions. Not to citizens, but to the very institutions that caused the collapse. Beneath the jargon, subprime mortgages, credit default swaps, securitization, lies an old story. What happens when money and power go unchecked? After the dot-com bust, banks hunted for the next big thing, real estate. Owning a home became an addiction, and Wall Street mass-produced it through mortgage-backed securities. Thousands of home loans bundled and sold as safe investments. But the system's hunger for profit demanded more loans, riskier loans. Soon, banks lent to people who couldn't repay. No income proof, hidden traps. It didn't matter. The risk was supposedly spread out. Behind the scenes, another layer emerged. Credit default swaps, bets on failure itself. The closer collapse came, the more money was made. Rating agencies like Moody's and S&P stamped toxic assets AAA because banks paid them to. By 2005, housing prices had far outpaced incomes. Ghost towns were built, people flipped homes they never lived in, and it all looked like prosperity until rates rose, foreclosures exploded, and the illusion shattered. Lehman Brothers fell, Bear Stearns vanished, AIG followed. Panic spread, liquidity froze, markets crashed, and $19 trillion in household wealth evaporated. But the system was saved. Not the people, the system. The government poured trillions into banks through TA, ARP, and the FED. Wall Street stabilized. Ordinary Americans faced debt, job losses, and foreclosures. Executives even paid themselves bonuses with bailout money. It wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. The system protects itself, not you. In the aftermath, central banks turned to quantitative easing, printing trillions to boost markets. Stocks and housing soared, corporate profits exploded, but wages stagnated and inequality hit record highs. Then came the pandemic. Again, print money, fix the problem. It worked briefly until inflation surged in 2021. Prices rose, interest rates spiked, and the same cracks reappeared, only deeper. Corporate debt hit records, governments sank further, consumers relied on credit, and finance grew even murkier. Crypto boomed and crashed. Fintech repackaged old traps. The core never changed. A system addicted to debt, led by politicians who fear collapse more than injustice, and elites who write rules to protect themselves. What did 2008 teach us? First, complexity isn't safety, it's camouflage. The less you understand, the easier you are to deceive. Second, incentives shape behavior. If bankers know they'll be rescued, they'll gamble. If regulators chase hedge fund jobs, they'll stay silent. And if politicians fear market crashes more than citizens' anger, they'll save the system, not the people. Third, financial literacy is survival. You don't need to be a Wall Street insider, but you must know how the game works. Learn to spot bubbles, Question every new opportunity. Always ask who profits, who carries the risk, and who's left standing when the music stops, because it always does. 2008 wasn't an exception. It was a warning. The architecture is still here. More digital, more leveraged, more fragile. When the next shock comes, and it will, don't expect a savior. Expect a bailout, inflation, and volatility, but not justice. Real wealth isn't money, it's awareness, knowledge, and resilience. The ability to see the storm coming and stand firm when it hits. Because the system won't warn you. The headlines won't save you. But history might, if you're willing to listen. History doesn't repeat, but if you ignore it, it will crush you the same way.